was amazing because, there was, as we were going through the process, these, contingencies and whatnot, and working with us and working and making everything work and the numbers work so that our mortgage was the best deal that we could get, and the payments and all of those things. I have a funny story. At one point, my father was in my ear a lot about the whole process because I had never, and he's like, well, I know somebody that can do better than, Lou and blah, blah, blah. Right. Do you remember?
Yes.
And so he's like, I just want you to call him. And so I called him, and he was making all of these promises, and it made me actually start thinking like, man, Lou is a little crooked. I don't know if you want to put this in your video or not, but and it made me like second guess Lou for a second, and this is important to share because the difference is that this person that my dad put me in contact made a lot of false promises. And Lou, what was so awesome about us is he always gave us the worst case scenario. Right. So we knew like what would the worst case of
we
what
were never surprised negatively. Right. It was like the numbers.
Right.
And he was like.
Right, and so actually, I mean, Lou was much more legit than it was this this credit union bank, to be honest with you. And in the end, because Lou, the whole time along, he always gave us, he always said, this is the worst case scenario, and giving you the worst case scenario, so it's not going to be surprises at the end. And so in the end, it actually turned out to be better than the worst case scenario. Right. And
well, yeah, it was a really good deal.
Yeah,
and that had been always my opposite in the past has been like they give you numbers and they always say this is the worst case scenario, and then it ends up being worse than that.
Worse than the worst case scenario.
So it was kind of like yeah, and then at the end to see the numbers, I was just stunned how much better they were, and he was like, I expected them to be, like this, but if I say it's like this and then something happens.
Whenever you're trying to buy something like a house or whatever, I mean, you look for the best deal, and you get invested, and we were quite far along in the process when my dad's like, oh, you need to talk to this person, and to hear like this person give false promises, and you want the better deal, so you hear that, and then so, and we went directly back to Lou, and we voiced, this is what we heard, because he had put so much work with us prior to that. We didn't want to just be angry, and we were wrong in that, and you seek the best deal, and sometimes you're gonna find those people who are gonna give you false promises and yada yada, but Lou was always really straight with us, and because of that, if we were to ever buy more property again, or if I had a friend who was looking for a mortgage person or whatnot, I'll always refer, because in the end it worked out so well.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.